I invite the Minister of Indigenous Relations and Reconciliation to lead the House in prayer or reflection.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and good morning. As folks may know, I am an ordained United Church minister and my husband is Jewish, but given the recent end of the holy month of Ramadan and the celebration of Eid, I wanted to start our session today with words from the Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him. What actions are most excellent? To gladden the heart of a human being, to feed the hungry, to help the afflicted, to lighten the sorrow of the sorrowful, to remove the wrongs of the injured. That person is the most beloved of God, who does most good to God's creatures. Thank you.
Introduction by members. Before we recognize members for introduction, I have a very special introduction to make. Honourable members, I'm pleased to welcome to our chamber a friend and a fellow presiding officer, the Honourable Nathan Cooper, Speaker of Alberta Legislative Assembly. He was first elected in 2015 to represent the people of Old Didsbury, Three Hills, then elected Speaker in 2019 and re-elected in 2023. Our new members may not know that our own legislature's cat, Macy Hansard, is related to Speaker Cooper's own cat, Hansard, which is unfortunately he didn't bring her here. So next time. Members, would you please welcome Speaker Nathan Cooper from Alberta. Minister of Jobs and Economic Development.
Thank you. It's my great pleasure to introduce here today on the floor Honourable David Egan and his partner in the gallery, Samboon. Honourable Egan is MLA for Northwest in Edmonton and the Shadow Minister for Advanced Education in the province of Alberta. He's the longest sitting MLA in the Alberta legislature right now. And he and I worked together in Alberta when he was the head of Friends of Medicare. He's an incredible advocate for things that we hold dear around healthcare, housing, anti-poverty, and building a more just society. He has been an incredible inspiration to me as a leader. Please welcome Honourable Mr. Egan and Samboon.
Member from Wandifika Malhat.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's an honour for me today to welcome a few of my former local government colleagues to the House. We're fortunate to have several members of the Union of BC Municipalities Executive joining us. They are, in no particular order, Sarah Story, Mayor of Fraser Lake, Sheila Boehm, City Councillor from Williams Lake, Amy Grice, Councillor from the town of Oliver, Pete Fry from the City of Vancouver, and last but not least, Gord Klassen, Councillor from Fort St. John. Please give these fine, dedicated folks a warm House welcome.
Minister of Health.
Thank you so much, Honourable Speaker. It's my pleasure to introduce just 19 representatives from the BC Nurses Union who are joining us in the North Gallery today. And this includes Vice President Tristan Newby. I won't read the other 18 names, but you are also very welcome here. BC's had the fastest growing nursing workforce of any major province since 2017, and the BC Nurses Union represents over 48,000 professional nurses and allied healthcare workers providing vital care in our hospitals, long-term care facilities, and in our communities. Would the House please join me in making them feel very, very welcome today?
Member for Delta South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm so pleased to have my daughter, Jamie Payton, here today. She grew up on our farm in Delta. And Jamie did some great humanitarian work over the years. She's done Habitat for Humanity in Fiji, in Brazil, in Nicaragua. and then taught school for 2 years in Japan, and she's back home again teaching school in Richmond Elementary School. And her partner, Mark Cantu, a young man from Texas, is her partner, and he just got his PhD from SFU in environmental toxicology, whatever the heck that is. So please make them feel welcome.
Minister of State for Local Government.
Thank you so much, Honourable Speaker. It is my absolute pleasure today to welcome here executive members of the Union of BC Municipalities. The work that they do to represent communities across British Columbia is so important, and I am delighted that they're going to be here today in the Hall of Honour from 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. and everyone in this House is welcome to please join them. It is led, of course, by President Trish Mandewo, but there are people from across British Columbia, local government representatives that do absolutely incredible work. So thank you, and can you please all welcome them to the House today.
Member for Caribou-Chilcotin.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I want to join with members that are welcoming people from across our province to represent UBCM, but I do want to single out one individual, and that's Sheila Bame, who is from Williams Lake. She's the past president of NCLGA. She is the current director of UBCM, and she is a city councillor in Williams Lake, but she is an amazing advocate for Caribou-Chilcotin, and I'm proud to know her, and I'm grateful for her work that she does all year around. So thank you very much, Sheila. Make her very welcome here today.
Minister of Indigenous Relations and Reconciliation.
Thanks. I would like to introduce my two EAs, Tyler Trupp and Bella Devereaux, who are in the House, usually watching from an office while they're working very hard, but I'm glad to have them here and want to acknowledge the important work that our staff all do in building relationships and advancing important work across this building and far beyond. So will the House please join me in thanking and welcoming Tyler and Bella into this House.
Member for Abbotsford West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Two short introductions, if I could. Would the 23 students from SFU please stand? I think they're behind us in the back there. I had the privilege to briefly meet with 23 SFU political science course students. These students represent a diverse background of people from nations and cultures, and they have different passions for entering the deep waters of sometimes muddy politics. And so let us, members who are sympathetic to that cause, make them feel most welcome. Also, I'm excited to be meeting this afternoon with the BC Federation of Students. I know they're in the precinct. Would all members please make them feel most welcome as well? Thank you.
Minister of Water and Land.
Thank you so much, Honourable Minister. In welcoming our local governments, I would like to add a couple of extra folks who are in the House today. The Mayor of Peachland, Patrick Van Minsel, and Councillor Dave Collins. We had a really great meeting yesterday about the great work you're doing on the watershed. So please help me in giving them a warm welcome.
Member for Abbotsford South.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. On the way here this morning, I had the pleasure of bumping into a huge number of members from the BC Nurses Union. In particular, I want to give a shout out to my local Abbotsford Lily. I just hope they're still here. They said they were going to be here all day. I just want to thank them for the hard work they do for us every single day with this House. Please welcome them and give them the round of applause that they so richly deserve.
Minister of Infrastructure.
So much, Honourable Speaker. As I look up into the gallery, I see my good friend Kathann Terrett, long-time activist and leader within the BCNU Nurses Union, really truly a champion of nurses across the province. Would the House please join me in making her feel very welcome?
Member for West Kona Peachland.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I as well would like to welcome the Mayor of Peachland, Mayor Patrick Van Minsel. Mayor Van Minsel is here to meet with ministers to discuss things that matter most to Peachland. Will this House please join me in welcoming Mayor Van Minsel to the Chamber?
Minister of Children and Family Development.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Today, April 2nd, is Autism Awareness and Acceptance Day. I know many members of this House are impacted and touched by autism. My little guy was diagnosed with autism and epilepsy when he was 4. I just want to give a shout out to the families who experience the joy, the challenges, the service providers. In my capacity as Minister of Children and Family Development, I understand firsthand, and I hope we all learn something about autism awareness and acceptance today.
Member for West Vancouver Capilano.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Nowruz, the Persian New Year, marks the arrival of spring and is celebrated by millions worldwide. It begins on the first day of Farvardin, around March 20th, and symbolizes renewal, joy, and family gatherings. The festivities last 13 days, ending with Sees Dabida, a day spent outdoors to embrace nature and ward off bad luck. Families picnic and release sabze, sprouted greens into water, symbolizing a fresh start for the year ahead. To the 68,545 Iranians living in BC, happy Sees Dabida.
Minister of Housing.
Thank you so much, Honourable Speaker. I've got some amazing folks here today from the Ministry of Housing and Municipal Affairs. I want to welcome Cassidy Harbottle, Malia Walker, Justin Betty, Rashi Agrawal, Shannon Oberholster, Carolyn Wilcher, Benjamin Gregory, Julianne Coe, Jake Plan, Yasher Gajar, and Anna Wren. Please join me in welcoming them all into the chamber today.
Member for Kelowna Mission.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was pleased to hear Councillor Pete Fry acknowledged in the chamber. Pete and I started our relationship and our political careers at the same time in 2016 by both being soundly defeated by the former Minister for Indigenous Relations and Reconciliation, Melody Mark. We all got to know each other quite well during that time, and every time I see Pete or Melody, I'm reminded of the importance of collegiality across party lines and the recognition that although this is an adversarial system, we are all unified in our desire to make things better for the people in our communities and in British Columbia.
Member for Vernon-Lumby.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I would like to introduce our local great leaders who are here today. It is our local Mayor of Vernon, Mayor Victor Cumming, and Mayor of Lumby, Mayor Kevin Acton, as well as Seminarm City Councillor Louise Wallace, who I have the honour to work together, and I admire the work they do together for the betterment of community. So would the House please join me to extend our sincere gratitude and make them feel very welcome here. Thank you.
Member for Prince George Mackenzie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's great to see so many local government leaders in here, and particularly the UBCM executive. Thank you for everything you do. But great to see the North so well represented with leaders like Corey Ramsey from the City of Prince George, Gord Klassen from Fort St. John, and my very good friend Sarah Story from Village of Fraser Lake. So will the House please join in another welcome to all of them.
Member for Vancouver Kensington.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm really pleased to look up and see a good friend, Baljit Fajardo. She's here with the BC Nurses Union, does terrific advocacy, but really in Vancouver Kensington, I want to recognize her for her leadership. She's regarded as a community leader, supporting young nurses, student nurses, but really someone who's known for fostering and building efforts to bring the community together in Vancouver Kensington. I ask everybody to please give her a very warm welcome.
Member for Burnaby East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm just so excited to see the students from SFU Political Science Union. The main building for SFU is in my riding, so I'm stoked, and as a fellow poli-sci nerd, I can't wait to connect with you folks later, quite soon actually, so please make them feel welcome.
Vernon-Lumby again.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I want to make another very important introduction, and I want to add to Minister of Health on behalf of MLA from North Vancouver Seymour and myself. We would like to again welcome fierce advocates and most caring people in this province, the delegation from BC Nurses Union, who I admire so much, and I had the honor to work together to strengthen and make our healthcare system better. So would the House please join me again to thank them for everything they do and to make them feel very welcome. Thank you.
Member for Peace River North.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to introduce to the House a fellow councillor from the energetic city of Fort St. John, Mr. Gord Klassen. And then also, when it comes to UBCM, that I know them familiar, they're friends of mine that I previously sat as a regional director, so I just want to wish you welcome. And it's great to see that people may not actually appreciate the distance that people have to travel from the north when it comes to politics, that it's not always an easy feat. So thank you very much, Gord.
Member for Coquitlam-Millardville.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I would like to have the House make welcome President Trish Mandewo from UBCM, who is also a City Councillor in Coquitlam, where I reside, and Councillor Craig Hodge, who are here in the building today. Both of them are incredibly dedicated public servants who serve with both knowledge, compassion, and a great deal of enthusiasm. And I would like to have you all join me in making them welcome.
Madam Clerk.
Introduction of bills. Statements by members.
Member for Ladysmith Oceanside.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Today is International Children's Book Day, and that means that it is the perfect day to celebrate a wonderful person and charity that she started in the riding of Ladysmith Oceanside. 98-year-old Qualicum Beach resident Eva Hilborn founded the wonderful world of books because she believes that reading to children builds lifelong language skills and a love for learning. The retired Qualicum Beach School District teacher says the idea came to her in part after reading about Dolly Parton's foundation, the Imagination Library, that gifted over 150 million books to children around the world. Eva decided to do the same thing on a smaller scale in her own home community and started the wonderful world of books in 2021. The foundation started by delivering a book a month for free to families with children 2 and 3 years old living in Bowser, a community about 20 minutes north of her home of Qualicum Beach. Over the years, the age and delivery area slowly expanded, and now the wonderful world of books delivers free books to children from birth through to 4 years old. Eva believes that by promoting early literacy through the 24 or more books that children have the opportunity to receive through her foundation, that will set them up to succeed in life. Her goal is for every child in her community to have their own library before they start school. All the books are purchased locally, and the wonderful world of books is a registered Canadian charity with over 40 volunteer drivers who are mostly retired teachers. Eva Hilborn is a fierce woman that I have had the honor to get to know as the local MLA. Eva and the volunteers that support the wonderful world of books are a living example of the famous Margaret Mead quote, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful and committed individuals can change the world. In fact, it is often the only thing that ever has." To Eva, I say thank you for the incredible work of the wonderful world of books and the incredible lifelong impact it has on the children and families of the Oceanside area.
Member for Surrey Cloverdale.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Today, we do recognize that it is World Autism Awareness and Acceptance Day, a global initiative to foster understanding, acceptance, and inclusion for individuals on the autism spectrum. Established by the United Nations in 2007, this day aims to shine a light on the unique strengths people with autism have and some of the challenges they may face while raising awareness about neurodiversity. People on the autism spectrum differ from other neurotypical people, sometimes having differences in communication and social interaction, but also having remarkable talents in areas like art, music, or problem solving. This year's theme emphasizes empowerment, ensuring people with autism have access to education, employment, and opportunities to thrive. Awareness, Mr. Speaker, isn't just about knowledge, it's about action. It's about dismantling stereotypes, advocating for accommodations, and listening. We're extremely fortunate in British Columbia to have many advocacy groups, not-for-profit organizations, service providers, as well as many parents and families of people with autism in BC. And I am grateful that they have been fighting for services, fighting for funding, and the rights of people with autism, particularly children. I'm grateful, and I would hate to think where we would be in this province without them. Especially, I'm grateful for them standing their ground for individualized funding. As British Columbians, we can build a province where sensory-friendly spaces, flexible systems, and genuine respect are the norm, not the exception. So today, let's commit to learning more, challenging our assumptions, and supporting initiatives to uplift people with autism. World Autism Awareness and Acceptance Day isn't just a date. It's a call to create a more inclusive province. Thank you.
Member for Wandi Fuka-Malahat.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In my role as Parliamentary Secretary for Accessibility, I had the incredible pleasure to speak last week at the Rick Hansen Foundation's Accessibility Professional Network 2025 conference. This event brings together some of the most inspiring minds and dedicated individuals, all united by a common goal to create a world without barriers. I found the energy and enthusiasm of all participants truly contagious. From the insightful discussions to the innovative ideas shared, it was abundantly clear that we're moving in the right direction in terms of advancements in accessibility and inclusion. The commitment to making a difference was palpable, and it was encouraging to see so many people passionate about driving change. March 21st marked the 40th anniversary of Rick Hansen's Man in Motion tour. Clearly, his efforts to raise global awareness about removing the stigma surrounding people living with disabilities continues to this day. The Rick Hansen Foundation remains a beacon of hope and progress, and being part of this conference reinforced my belief in the power of collective action. Together, we can break down barriers and build a more inclusive society. I wish to once again thank the organizers, speakers, and attendees for making this event a resounding success. Their dedication and hard work are truly commendable, and I'm confident that as a society, we will continue to collaborate, innovate, and inspire each other as we move forward in our journey toward a more accessible world. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Surrey White Rock.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to pay respect to a White Rock institution that is now celebrating their 50th anniversary as of yesterday. It's Moby Dick Fish and Chips in White Rock, and I saw that. A few fans in attendance today. Moby Dick's actually started by Peter Mueller. He was born in Germany and later residing in Switzerland. He worked as a chef at a 5-star seafood restaurant before eventually finding his forever home in Vancouver. He arrived in Vancouver in 1973 with just his car, which he had shipped over, and he explored the cities until he found White Rock. And he worked as a chef at the cannery, but he realized his own dream was to open a restaurant on the White Rock waterfront. And it was his wife, Claudia, that told him and reminded him of his own goal to operate a restaurant by the time he turned 30. Encouraged by her faith and their shared dream, Peter set out to find the perfect location, which they did. And they brainstormed, and it was a novel that Claudia was just finished reading, which was obviously Moby Dick. And they opened the restaurant on April 1st, 1975. Now, the first week they made a choice where they did not serve fish and chips, and they almost went bankrupt. So they quickly corrected, and much to their not to their surprise, but they were flooded by people even as of today. And Peter operated this restaurant until 1999 when his wife Claudia passed away. He did not want to continue doing this. This was a partnership that they had done, and so he sold it. It is now in the proud hands of Sasha and Yuri, who proudly operate the restaurant today. So I invite anybody that wants to come down, please do. If you're in White Rock, stop by Moby Dick and enjoy fish and chips on the beach. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Vancouver Kensington.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The 411 Seniors Society Center Society, established in 1977, has been a cornerstone in Vancouver's seniors community. It's an inclusive, versatile, and dynamic drop-in space for older adults. And over the years, they've maintained a steadfast commitment to advocacy, support, and community building. They offer essential services tailored to vulnerable seniors, including information referral, digital literacy, emergency response and preparedness, and a variety of engaging recreational and social activities. In spring 2023, the Centre embarked on a new chapter by relocating from their location at the 411 Dunsmuir Street to a vibrant neighbourhood at Fraser and 19th Avenue in Vancouver, Kensington. They've got a new senior centre, including affordable seniors housing units, and just a great addition to the neighbourhood. In 2023, Marion Leslie Pollock, the past president of 411, was honoured with the Seniors Leadership Award by the Simon Fraser University Gerontology Research Centre, recognizing her dedication to advocating for affordable housing and social justice for seniors. Marion has also felt that what 411 provides to seniors are essential services. And we know from the leadership and example of Seniors 411 that by improving health and well-being, senior centres help older adults live more fulfilling lives. They do incredible programming, including a kitchen that provides over 5,000 subsidized meals to seniors every year. They have active membership of over 1,000 members, just an incredibly dynamic organization. And they lead by example to really demonstrate to us that when seniors are engaged and supported, they're less likely to require health interventions, they're more likely to contribute to their communities, and senior centres create a positive economic impact by reducing healthcare costs, supporting independent living, fostering social connections, enhancing local economies, and they're just a great addition to our neighbourhood. I ask everybody to please give a very round recognition to the great work of Seniors 411 Centre Society. Thank you very much.
Member for Westland, Peachland.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, I rise to speak about the Royal Canadian Legion in Peachland. This institution is more than just a building. It's a symbol of the sacrifices made by our veterans, both past and present. For decades, the Legion has been a cornerstone of our community, providing a place where veterans, their families, and the local community can come together in remembrance, support, and solidarity. The Royal Canadian Legion in Peachland has served as a home to our veterans. It is a space for them to gather, share stories, and find comfort among those who understand their sacrifices. Each Remembrance Day, this community honors those who fought for the freedoms we cherish, standing at the cenotaph with pride and reverence. The Legion has supported countless initiatives, ensuring that veterans and their families are never forgotten and that their contributions are always celebrated. However, recently this valued institution and other local businesses fell victim to a senseless act of vandalism. Windows of the Legion were egged, leaving behind not just a mess, but a deep emotional wound. The president of the Legion expressed the pain that this act has caused, saying it really hurts. This type of behavior has no place in our community. It is important that we come together and show respect for the institutions that support our veterans and our way of life. The men and women of the Canadian Armed Forces made great sacrifices to ensure that we have the freedoms we enjoy today. The least we can do is respect the places that honor them. I ask all members of this House and all citizens of our province to stand with the Royal Canadian Legion and to reject acts of vandalism and disrespect. Let us ensure that our communities are places of support, dignity, and respect, places that reflect the values we hold dear. Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Oral questions by members.
Members, during the question period, no electronic devices to be used. Member for Penticton Summerland.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On January 28th, Chantel Williams was released from hospital late at night while in the care of the Ministry of Children and Family Development. She was found unresponsive blocks from her group home and was later pronounced dead. She was found by a passerby at 5 a.m. Chantel's death is not an isolated incident. Last year, 103 children died while receiving services from MCFD. But in spite of this death toll, the government has only implemented 9 of the 72 recommendations from the representative for children and youth. Chantal's family is here in the gallery. They have been trying for months to get communication and answers from this government about Chantal's death. It has been 64 days since Chantal's death. My question is, how many more children have to die before this government implements the remaining 63 recommendations?
Minister of Children and Family Development.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I first and foremost want to give my condolences to the family that is here today. Your loss is devastating. I am sorry. Your family member mattered. She was important, and what has happened is unfair. I have cleared my schedule this afternoon. I would like to meet with the family if they would like to meet with me. I have provided information to the members opposite about our Child, Family and Community Services Act. I, under that act, as the Minister of Children and Family Development, am not able to publicly share information that I obtain under that act. I understand that this is frustrating. When I was in opposition, it was frustrating for me, Honourable Speaker. What I can say is that in general, in my ministry, anytime a child dies, we review the circumstances around that death. We do a comprehensive review. We work with third parties from this legislature, like the Representative of Children and Youth, like the Coroner Service, like the police. We work with those independent bodies to provide the information necessary. And wherever we can, we work with families. I understand that it is a very difficult process. And throughout that process, my expectation is that we provide families with support, that we pay for funerals, that we provide food support and counseling support. This is an unimaginable circumstance for any family, Honourable Speaker, and my heart goes out to the family today.
Thank you. Member supplemental.
The report, Don't Look Away, outlined the horrific death of a child in foster care and was released 258 days ago. Following that report, this government admitted that the system is broken and pledged to implement all 9 of the recommendations in that report. This government stood in this House and made that commitment. And here we are, following the death of yet another child. My question is, why has this government not implemented these recommendations, and when can the public and families expect action?
Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. We absolutely are implementing recommendations of the Representative of Children and Youth. I meet the Representative of Children and Youth regularly to talk about the progress that our ministry is making on those recommendations. I also have provided comprehensive information to the member opposite on her questions, and will do so with any member in this House. I hate talking about numbers, Honourable Speaker. Every single child is a child that mattered. Their life was worth something, and it was important. I do have to correct the member because she continually talks about 103 children. I've provided her with the breakdown of that information. I have provided her with the information available. Of those children, 89 of those children were receiving services. What that means is that a child who is with their parent who might be receiving something like speech and language services or counseling services is counted in how we report child deaths in this province. Of the number that the member mentioned, 14 children who were in government care passed away. In each one of those situations, we do a review. We ensure that recommendations are followed up on. We take these deaths very seriously, Honourable Speaker. I'm committed to working every single day. The member opposite also sits on our Select Standing Committee for Children and Youth. with the representative of children and youth and talks to that committee on the progress that we are making on those recommendations. We are making significant progress, Honourable Speaker. We have struck a Deputy Minister's Project Board. We are working across government on a comprehensive child and youth well-being plan and outcomes framework. I am committed to that work, and I'm committed to doing better for children and youth in this province.
Member for Columbia River Revelstoke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. According to the last report from the representative for children and youth, approximately 500 children go missing every year while in government care. No one was even looking for Chantal Williams the night she died alone. When will this government get serious about the safety of kids in its care and implement the 72 recommendations from the representative?
Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I can assure the members in this House that there is nothing more important to me than the safety and well-being of every single child in this province. I am a mom of a 19-year-old and a 15-year-old. Every day that I wake up in this role, I think about the safety and well-being of children. Honourable Speaker, we are implementing the recommendations that the representative of children and youth has made. We also invested $321 million into the ministry budget this year because we understand that these services are vital to ensuring that children and youth are safe. We have increased our direct workforce working alongside families by 20%, Honourable Speaker. We have invested in services for young people who have aged out of care, Honourable Speaker. There is more work to be done. I am committed to doing that work. This government is committed to ensuring that vulnerable people in this province are kept safe. That is my commitment. I am willing to work with any member in this House on this issue. This is a nonpartisan issue. The well-being of children and youth is my top priority.
Member supplemental.
Well, that sounds good, Mr. Speaker, but the minister stands here and talks about money, action plans, and working on it. But meanwhile, children are still vanishing from care. Chantal Williams was missing. Was anybody even looking for her? How many more children will BC lose before this government treats them like they actually matter?
Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Every child in this province matters. Every single day that I wake up in this role, every single day that I go to bed, I think about the children in this province. I think about the reports. I work diligently with the representative of children and youth. I meet with families, with community members. I have worked in community. I have worked alongside families. I understand the frustration. I understand that there is always more work to be done, Honourable Speaker. I will wake up every day and put every effort and every molecule in my body that I have to ensure that we are doing better, that we are responding to recommendations that are made, that we are working in community, that we are ensuring that we have strong oversight, that we are continually doing better. I will never, ever give up on doing the right thing for children and youth in this province. There is always better to be done, and my commitment to the children, youth, and families in this province, the service providers that provide crucial support, and to the members opposite and every member in this House, that I will never stop that work.
Leader of the third party.
Honourable Speaker, education is the foundation of a healthy society and a functional democracy, but it has been deprioritized by consecutive governments in British Columbia. BC ranks 9th of the 10 provinces in per-pupil funding. Chronic underinvestment has left teachers unable to do their work effectively, undermining the opportunity for young students to get the education they deserve. When schools are inadequately funded and students spend their education years in portables, a clear message is sent to our youth. We are not sufficiently investing in you during the formative years of your life. Despite persistent inequities, no BC government has adequately addressed these issues in over 2 decades. Through you, Honourable Speaker, the Minister of Education, when will this government modernize operational funding for public kindergarten to grade 12 schools?
Minister of Education.
Thank you very much, Speaker, and I want to thank the member for the question. We have a shared passion for public education. I don't know if the member knows, but I actually was a school board trustee, and that's actually what brought me to my role here as an MLA, because I was passionate about improving the public education system. I remember a little guy, Lucas, who came to present to us at the school board. 10 years old, his glasses, came and sat in front of a table of a dozen adults to tell us what our budget, how it meant, what it meant for him at the time. This was in 2016, honorable member. And Lucas told me about how he suffers from anxiety and other mental health issues, and how he desperately needs a counselor some days in school. And one day he went to his teacher and said, you know, I'm not having a good day. I need to see my counselor. And the teacher looked at him and said, I'm sorry, Lucas, it's Tuesday. We don't have your counselor till Thursday. Can you just hold it in? That's the day I decided to run for MLA. So I will work every day to ensure that we are improving our public education system for kids like Lucas. We have increased our funding year after year after year since we've formed government, and we will continue to do so. We will continue to make commitments around education because we know how important this is for kids.
Member supplemental.
Thank you. The BC Federation of Students points out that this chronic investment is felt not only in K-12 education, but also across post-secondary institutions. Our priorities should clearly be with the students of today and the workforce of tomorrow. If we want to improve healthcare, build more housing, grow our economy, and create strong communities, we have to start with world-class, affordable post-secondary education and skills training. Public post-secondary institutions are in peril. Programs are being cut, faculty and staff laid off. The government started a funding review in 2022 that would have brought problems with the funding model to light and proposed solutions. Through you, Honourable Speaker, to the Minister of Post-Secondary Education, when will you release the results of consultation and complete the post-secondary funding review?
Minister of Post-Secondary Education.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and thank you so much to the member across for this question. Post-secondary institutions are an economic driver in this very challenging time that we have here. I'm very proud of the 25 public post-secondary institutions we have in British Columbia, and we continue to support them in the best way that we can. Honourable Speaker, the unilateral decisions that the federal government has made in our international students has really crippled the way that we are funding our post-secondary institutions. I have been meeting with presidents, faculty, staff, and students about the challenges that they are facing right now, and we are there for them. We are working with them hand in hand and making sure that any financial challenges are not crippling the programming that we are providing for them. We will continue to support them, and we will continue to make sure that we have high-quality education here for our post-secondary institutions.
Member for Surrey Cloverdale.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last month, a young nurse took her own life after being attacked twice on the job, one incident happening while she was alone. The health minister responded to questions from media by placing blame, saying her expectation is that the health authorities follow the rules for safety. Mr. Speaker, frontline workers tell me that it's chronic NDP staffing shortages that are placing nurses and other healthcare workers in danger on a regular basis. If the minister is looking for someone to blame, Mr. Speaker, she need only look in the mirror. When will the Premier and the Health Minister truly take the safety of frontline healthcare workers seriously?
Minister of Health.
Thank you so much, Honourable Speaker. We all know that hospitals and healthcare facilities are places where people go to seek help and support to feel better, and that our nurses, who are truly healthcare heroes, are doing their very utmost and deserve a safe workplace to be. Mr. Speaker, just this morning I had the opportunity to meet with frontline nurses and hear firsthand about experiences that they have had. With respect to this nurse that the member opposite refers to, it is simply a devastating situation, and I think every single person in this place, their hearts go out to her friends and her family We have heard and seen that she was an important part of her community, giving so much, and this has got to have huge ripples across her workplace and across her community as well. Mr. Speaker, violence has absolutely no place in the workplace, and that's why we've taken steps together with the BC Nurses Union and health authorities to add security resources into hospitals and establishing the Relational Security Initiative program. We've made the commitment and have hired 320 of these relational security officers. Mr. Speaker, we have over 750 of them placed in facilities across British Columbia. We're going to do more. We need to do more. More in terms of violence prevention and the curriculum and the training that people have access to make sure that patients, nurses, and all healthcare workers are safe. Thank you.
Member supplemental.
Mr. Speaker, the first time 33-year-old nurse Roseanne Wallace was attacked in the psychiatric unit where she worked, her shoulder injury required surgery. The response to that attack was to install a panic button. Mr. Speaker, I'm going to ask every member on that side of the chamber to imagine being a nurse. Imagine being choked, punched, kicked, attacked by a violent patient. Now imagine having to push a panic button because there aren't enough staff to restrain that patient, and there aren't any security officers posted to that unit. My question, Mr. Speaker, is how many minutes do you think it's acceptable to have to wait for help to arrive?
Minister of Health.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. The member is correct in that we need more nurses on the floors here in British Columbia. And that's why we're taking the actions that we are to build the nursing workforce across British Columbia. Mr. Speaker, we've had the fastest growing workforce across Canada here in BC. Since 2017, we're only behind PEI. Mr. Speaker, we've added 1,500 more nurses in the last year alone. We've made commitments around a minimum nurse-to-patient ratio that we know is making a big difference in places like Smithers, where nurses told me about this morning they're beginning to meet those nurse-patient ratios. That's making a real difference on the floor for nurses there. And we've got to keep doing that work. That's why we're going to continue working in partnership with the Nurses Union. We're going to continue to create better working conditions for nurses across British Columbia. And they are big challenges, Mr. Speaker, but it takes all of us in partnership, working together. We're going to get this work done because we know that nurses deserve better. We know that British Columbians deserve the health care when they need it and where they need it. And part of that, so much of that, is delivered by our nurses. Thank you.
Member for Chilliwack North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. More than 6,000 children have died or suffered critical injuries this past year on this government's watch. We know that a disproportionate number of those incidences involved Indigenous children, which is tragically a repeating pattern. How many more children will be put in harm's way or die before this government implements all 72 recommendations?
Minister of Children and Family Development.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. We are absolutely committed to implementing the recommendations of the Representative of Children and Youth. I meet regularly with the Representative of Children and Youth to discuss where we are at with those recommendations. Some of those recommendations have been implemented. They are immediate recommendations, recommendations like timelines that social workers visit youth who are in care. Those have been completed. The Representative of Children and Youth also has made recommendations that are systemic and take longer to complete, Honourable Speaker. Those recommendations are recommendations like a comprehensive child and youth well-being plan, an outcomes framework, a whole of government approach to how we support families. When families interact with my ministry, they are at some of the most difficult times of their journey. There are multiple things that we need to do to address those challenges. It's very important work, Honourable Speaker. It is work that I take incredibly seriously, and it is work that we are committed to. We are transforming our child welfare system, Honourable Speaker, in working with Indigenous communities, Indigenous governing bodies on the resumption of jurisdiction of their children and families. This is very important work, and it's work that we're committed to.
Thank you. Member for Surrey White Rock.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. After being released from the hospital to her group home, Chantel Williams should have had support. She should have had supervision. She clearly did not have either of those things. Instead, she's able to leave undetected and then found unresponsive hours later and passed away. Now, this government stood in this House almost a year ago and committed to implement these critical, important recommendations. Today, 9 out of 72. That's not good enough. That is not good enough for the children of this province, and it wasn't good enough for Chantal. The family can't even get basic answers of what happened when she left the hospital. My question to this minister, my question to the Premier is a very simple one. What are they waiting for to get these recommendations done, completed, to protect our children today?
Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Again, the safety and well-being of children is my #1 priority. I am committed to working with the representative of children and youth. We meet bi-weekly. I work with her closely on her recommendations. I want to correct the member opposite. Of the 72 recommendations cited, 44 of them are directed at the Ministry of Children and Family Development, and 29 of those are complete or already in progress. This is very important work. I'm happy to work with any of the member opposite on what we're doing and providing more information to the members opposite on how we're doing that work. Again, committed to working with the representative of children and youth and her independent office from our government, and thank the member for the question.
Member for Abbotsford South.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. 13-year-old Brianna McDonald died of an overdose in a homeless encampment in Abbotsford. She was just 13, a life ahead of her. Brianna struggled with mental illness and addiction, and after being bounced between the Children's Hospital, Surrey Hospital, doctors, counselors, and therapists, Brianna wound up homeless in an encampment in Abbotsford. Her parents begged, pleaded for help, but the system, this NDP government system, ignored them. Will the Premier stand in this House today, especially considering there is a family present who lost a loved one, and admit that under his government, under his leadership, that the BC NDP are failing the very children they swore to protect? Or will he yet once again shamelessly leave it to one of his ministers to apologize and answer on his behalf?
Minister of Housing.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and my heart goes out to the family as well. When we hear of anyone being in an encampment in any community in the province, we know how difficult of a situation that is. We know how it's unsafe for the people that are living there, and it's not really safe for the community at large. I've been working closely with communities like Abbotsford to try to scale up supportive housing. I really hope we get to a place where we all in this House can stand up and speak about how important supportive housing is for our communities, because that's the opportunity where you can get people indoors, you can get them the supports that they need. Having people sleeping in encampments and in parks and in tents, you can't get them the supports they need there. You need to give them shelter. You need to be able to provide the wraparound supports. That's why we've been scaling up supportive housing in communities at record pace, because it's not acceptable to have somebody living in an encampment. It's not acceptable to have someone living in a tent, Honourable Speaker. So again, my heart goes out to the family. We're going to continue the work to scale up supportive housing opportunities so that young people, seniors, anyone that needs a home can go there and get a place and get all the supports that they need.
Member for Abbotsford Mission.
Mr. Speaker, children deserve to grow up in safe homes and safe communities. But under this NDP government, they aren't. In my own riding, a 5-year-old girl, yes, I said 5, had to be rushed to the hospital after overdosing on fentanyl. What should have been a normal evening, routine turned dire when she reportedly handled a jar of fentanyl. What kind of province have we become when children aren't safe in their own homes? Mr. Speaker, how can the Premier claim to be protecting our children when they're being rushed to the hospital for fentanyl overdoses?
Minister of Children and Family Development.
What the member describes is horrific and awful, Honourable Speaker, and should never occur. As a mom, I am devastated by that story, and I think we are all devastated by that in this legislature. We have a Child, Family and Community Services Act in this province that governs making sure that children are safe and protected. The member is right. Every child deserves to live in a safe home, in a loving home, and in a healthy home. And my expectation is that my ministry does everything possible to ensure that that occurs. When there is a safety concern for a child, we are required by law, whether that be in a hospital, in a community, in a school, to provide that information. Any circumstance where a child is at risk, a social worker has the ability to investigate that situation, and then there's a process that occurs out of that, Honourable Speaker. What the member describes is horrific, and I am appalled to hear of it.
Member for Chilliwack, Cultus Lake.
What we've heard today in the House is a terrible string of events that's happening to our most precious asset that we have in this province. That's our children. Over and over and over again, this government has failed children in their care. It's heartbreaking and it's infuriating that this government cannot do the job it's committed to, and that is to keep children in care safe. There's a family that made the long trip today from their community to come here. They're sitting in the gallery and they're mourning the loss of their family member. This is fresh for them. Her brother's here. They were in the care system together. They were separated. And I know he carries a heavy weight on his shoulders because of that separation. But they came here today so that they could be heard. And they'll never see their family member again. I'm asking the Premier today to stand up and speak, not to me, not to the opposition, but to the family of Chantel Williams. And please tell them why their family member died in the cold alone when she should have been safe and warm in the care of this government.
Mr. Premier.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. I thank the Opposition House Leader for the question, and I thank the Opposition for providing the family the opportunity to be heard here today. The Minister has outlined the frustrating legal constraints on us, preventing us from talking about any particular case. It doesn't constrain me from saying to this family that this was a precious child. She shouldn't have died. Any time that a child dies in care, it is a failure and we need to learn all we can to prevent the deaths of any other children in care. I can assure you, and I assure all British Columbians, that this death will be investigated independently, that you will get the answers that you need, that there are not one, but 2 independent offices set up, independent of us, independent of the minister, to get you the answers that you need and that you deserve. And I just want to underline that the minister has, in fact, cleared her schedule to meet with you, to talk with you one-on-one. I hope you take her up on that offer. But regardless, thank you for making the trek here. Thank you for having the courage to share this story. It's important for all British Columbians to hear. And you have my assurance that we will get you the answers that you deserve.
The bell ends the question period. Honourable members, I have the honour to table 3 reports from the Registrar of Lobbyists. First one, Determination Decision 2501, Atira Women's Resource Society. Second one, 2502, Arts Club of Vancouver Theatre Society. And the third one, 2503, Vancouver Humane Society. Madam Clerk. Member for Warner-Lumbee.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to present a petition signed by 479 people and organized by our community advocate, Fraser Young, who I've been working closely with. This petition is asking to extend BC Transit Bus 97 route to include UBC Route 90, which will help many commuters in the region.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Orders of the day.
Government House Leader.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I call motion number 11 on the order paper, which has been standing in my name, Honourable Speaker. I move motion number 11, of which notice has been given in my name on the order paper regarding the membership of the Select Standing Committee on Public Accounts. And it has been shared with the Opposition House Leader and the third-party House Leader.
Members, question is adoption of the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Government House Leader.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. In this chamber, I call second reading on Bill 7, the Economic Stabilization Tariff Response Act. And in the Section A, the Douglas Fir Room, I call estimates debate for the Ministry of Emergency Management and Climate Readiness, and after that, the Ministry of Citizen Services.